Welcome back, everybody. And we are now diving back into what we like to call Ironsworn Part 2, as we talk more Ironsworn stuff. Yeah.
Is that's what it is.
Duh.
Part
Yeah.
Duh. Numero.
Yes, last week we started off having a little brief look into the game TTRPG called Ironsworn by Sean Tompkin, and we got as far as to creating a couple of characters, didn't we, really?
We did. We started off with the character sheet, ran through the first few bits. So we got the basics down, so names, some stats, some health, and spirit supply, momentum. But then we got to vows and had to stop because we were an hour in, and still a bit to do. So we left it for a week to kind of have a think about these vows, because this is all sort of
new to
vows.
Yeah.
Well, vows in Ironsworn are a big thing. They're really important. And
they sort of frame your character, really, don't they? They sort of like...
They do.
Is it very similar? I can only get the impression it's very similar to other TTRPGs where it's like their backstory or their background. It kind of influences their past in a way, I imagine.
Yeah, so when you start with Ironsworn, according to this, you should start with 2. So you've got your background one, which is essentially your backstory. It could be a vow that you swore years and years ago, or one that is a reaction to a recent major event. But the point of it is very important, and it basically frames your entire motivation or your ultimate goal. I tried to smush those two things to your motivations there.
Always the motivations.
Yeah, I tried to smush them together there. That wasn't going to work. That is your primary goal. So when you start with something like Pathfinder or with something like D&D, you usually like, okay, so what's a big important thing that happened to you, and you want to achieve something because of it, and you've got the typical tropes. Oh, someone destroyed my village and I swear vengeance, or my dad's missing and I want to find him, or I must find my father. I need to find the man that killed my father, the 6-fingered man. I must find him and duel him. I don't know, that kind of thing. Prepare to die kind of shit going on.
Yeah, my name is Inigo Montoya.
Yeah, so you got those kinds of motivations. They're the things that sort of basically drive you through most of the campaign.
Yeah.
And sometimes you achieve them, sometimes you don't. And in Ironsworn, your background vow is basically that. It is something that in this is given the rank of extreme or epic.
Yes. Yeah, because
so you have very tough.
You have varying levels of difficulty for your vows. It's troublesome, dangerous, formidable, extreme, and epic. So you can be like, I'm going to hunt down the dragon that lives in the mountains. So that's going to be an epic vow because that's certain death, essentially, you would assume. An extreme one would be like the clan raided my village and burned it to the ground. I need to seek vengeance. I would assume that would be an extreme.
Yeah.
A formidable would be...
The example they give on page 196 in chapter 7 is essentially that. Basically, your backstory involves your former life as a raider. You're haunted by your past and have sworn to see this raider clan defeated. There are complications. It's powerful. You can't defeat them without an army at your back, and the clan is led by your own mum.
Ooh.
So it'll take a special sort of courage to face her again. And then it talks about how you envision the clan's name and how their shields are decorated and things like that. And the vow is to defeat the Red Moon clan. So it's literally the example you've just given.
Yeah.
It's been given a rank of extreme. Because if you just look at the way it's laid out. So first off, it's your mum. That's already, that's difficult. It's significant because it's, family. It doesn't matter if you're at odds with family. It can be really difficult to get around that, basically I've got to fight and possibly kill my own mum. That's kind of, that's pretty...
tricky. Yeah.
That's going to take a lot of courage. Then you've got the fact that the clan is powerful. They're a bunch of raiders. They're well armed, supplied and managed.
And all that,
so you're going to need like an army. So that means you've got to build up an absolute boatload of allies. You need a shitload of bonds and people that you can trust. You're going to need good weaponry and supplies and all of that. So taking all of that in mind, you just go, yeah, that's pretty extreme. And that's your background right there. You're going to defeat your mum.
I mean, if you think of this like envisage it in like a film state, you know, you could be like standing off against the essentially your mum and be like, I can't strike her down, like that sort of conflicting thing going on. But I know I have to, and I have to find the courage to do it. You know, she wants to kill me, but I can't fight her, sort of thing. And maybe that's one of the reasons you haven't, or you've tried to, and you've had to run away, or you've had to leave because you just can't do it, and she always has the upper hand, or something like that. You can sort of build the drama as much as you kind of need to, really, which is quite cool.
It's a very different way of doing it. Now, the thing about vows, unlike your intentions, like when you create a character in D&D, Pathfinder, whatever, your vow is in the setting here, Ironlands, it's sacred. So it's a massive part of it. And you can forsake your vows. But if you do,
there's consequences, right?
There are consequences. Something happens. It can be pretty rough. There are a lot of rolls that you can make, like on oracles and things. And it's like, some of it can be pretty harsh, you know.
Well, I mean, rightfully so, you know, in a sense of if you think about it in something being sworn as a vow and you've got to, you know, uphold it and stuff, to sort of forsake it in that kind of these sorts of medieval times, or, you know, Viking times, or whatever they say they are, that would be quite sort of like serious. You'd be probably labeled a coward or thrown out or cast out as some sort of reject and have to go and like roam the wilds on your own.
Yeah,
you know, because you're not brave enough, or you're not kind of seen as exceptional enough anymore, or whatever. So yeah, as rightly so. So that'd be quite fun to sort of see that play out. If you're like, I can't do it, I'm conflicted, I'm going to have to literally forego my vow. And then it's like, now I have to deal with the consequences. Like, am I more stressed? Do I go a little bit, you know, nutty? Who knows?
I'm just doing a quick search. I'm trying to find some examples, but I can't see any in the book. I'm having a hard time finding it, but I'm just going to do a quick search to see, for example.
Sure. So, I mean, to just briefly go over. Oh, okay. You got something.
No, you go first. I
was just basically going to say, just to go over briefly what our characters were, because we came up with the characters. My guy was called Dag. He was a farrier. And, you know, he was seen as reliable. And his goal was to gain knowledge. And I think your character was slightly the opposite of that. Yours was a bit more sneaky, a bit more cunning, a bit more slippery.
Yes, mine was very rogue heavy, rogue-esque, rogue heavy, hunter, sort of hunter ranger type thing going on. Okay, so generally speaking, there is a move, which is forsake your vow.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going to get the move doodad up, because I've got the book up, but not the thing that tells me all the moves. Where's the moves gone? This is the only problem I have with PDFs, is that I can't just flick straight back to the friggin' first page. I have to
chapter 3, it says moves. Is that right?
Let's see. Chapter 3, making moves. Okay, so yeah, chapter 3, making moves, adventure moves, relationship moves, combat moves, suffer moves, quest moves, forsake your vow, page 102. There we go. So when you renounce your quest, betray your promise, or the goal is lost to you, clear the vow and endure stress. You suffer minus spirit equal to the rank of your quest.
Also, if it's like an extreme one, you're getting what? You're losing 4. If it's an epic one, and if it's extreme, you're losing -4.
-5, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's quite serious.
When you bear in mind that you can start with a maximum of +3.
Mm-hmm.
Just generally, that's before you add in like your actions and equipment and stuff. But that's pretty.
So
Yeah,
you're already
actually,
losing.
it says here, for an Iron Sworn, realizing you must forsake your vow is a dramatic and disheartening decision. Tradition says the item upon which you swore your vow, your sword, armor, the iron coin, whatever, is discarded. Some clans even believe you must cast away all of your weapons and armor and bear no iron until you redeem. That's pretty harsh. Until you redeem yourself.
So it's basically like you forsake your vow, you're no longer worthy to wear armor for a while until you've proven yourself. So basically, if you think about that in that sort of terminology, I mean, back in the, you'd have like berserkers who wore no armor because they were taking whatever they were taking to go into like a rage.
They
But
were
they
on the
would do,
shroom juice,
yeah,
toad
and they
juice.
were quite happy to do that to sort of prove they were formidable fighters and stuff. And it's not quite the same, but very, very similar in like, you're going to have to go to battle with no armor on, mate, to sort of redeem yourself, to show that how brave and how courageous and how tough you are. And you'd be like, oh, shit.
So mechanically,
and with -4 spirit.
Yeah, mechanically, you endure stress and you reduce your spirit track. Narratively speaking, though, now bear in mind that Ironsworn is a very narrative-driven game.
Yes.
So narratively, you have to consider how your failure affects the story. So, did you swear the vow in service to others? Are you now failing them? Does this impact your relationship with them? And then if your vow was a personal quest, how does this force you to rethink your path and what do you do from here? And there is a chance that it forces you to abandon your life as an Ironsworn. You just write yourself out. Kind of
so
thing.
your character just goes sunsets and off they go, and
basically
they're going to have to wander the wilds until they figure it out. Because I mean, if you look at what it says about spirit, I mean, it could be quite detrimental to you if you're already losing spirit, because it says spirit is your current mental state ranked from 0 to 5+. So you endure -4 stress, you're already kind of a little bit on the edge. You're kind of cracking up.
Yeah. If you are at 0 spirit, scoring a miss when you endure stress puts a lot of risk of suffering a debility or falling into desolation. And that, again, removes your character from the gameplay. So if your spirit track is reduced, so even if you start at +5 and you've gone up and down, you've wavered, but you're at +5, if it is reduced to 0 and then you miss on something when you endure stress,
you're still kind of,
you're fucked. You could actually suffer harm from that. So this could be pretty harsh. 5 is a lot. And considering the most you can have is 5, if you fail a major quest, woof, that's bad. That's bad.
Well, yeah, if you're on +5 and you go down to -4, you're at +1.
Yeah.
You're in big trouble. You're like 0 to 0. You're in big trouble.
Luckily, you can't go into minus numbers on spirit, but at the same time, it doesn't matter because 0 is friggin' bad. So a vow is really important in Ironsworn. So you need to make your vows really carefully, I would suggest.
Yes, you have to consider them.
Really consider them. They are a big part of your character. So make sure it's something that you're mentally prepared to do.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez, because this could really backfire on you.
So, with your guy, then, what sort of starting vow, like your background vow, a long-term, extreme or epic vow, do you think he'd make? Like, what sort of background is he from?
I mean, since he's a farrier, he kind of like I would consider that the clan, I suppose we need to flesh out what we were about. Like maybe we're part of a clan, shall we say? Are we part of the clan? Are we part of a clan?
I think, let's say a clan. Tell you what then, if we're going to do it this way, let's take a quick look at the world. So if we do it this way, we'll take a look at the world.
Let's flesh this out a little bit.
Because this is the weird thing about Ironsworn. You can start off doing a character And then you'll be discussing with your co-players, like, oh, well, what do you think X,
How
Y,
does
Z?
this work? Yeah.
And then suddenly, well, actually, do you think it'd be better to build that first? So you go and you build the world, and then you come back to it,
Yeah.
and you're bouncing backwards and forwards,
And that
and
can
it's
sort
all
of influence your vows and all the rest of it. Yeah.
your brain falls out your arsehole, and you feel a bit dizzy.
And
But
it's all bad news.
it's all bad news after that. But
Yeah. I've had a mental prolapse.
Mental prolapse, yeah.
Mm.
But it's like this is just how Iron Sworn is. It even says in the beginning that you can start one and start the other, or just sort of bounce between the two.
I kind of like that though, because that's kind of your world building, character building, your background building. You're kind of, it's all in. It's like a big melting pot of let's throw some stuff in and see where it goes.
But what's good about it is that it's not asking you to do it like on the spot. You're not, you're doing it in advance. And it's like I said last episode, I struggle when you say, okay, well, I want to go and find out XYZ. Okay, make up the name of a person on the spot and tell me all about them. What?
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, hang on, this is heavy.
Hang on, I can't do that. I'm in player mode right now. I'm in character mode. I'm not in world build mode. And I'm one of those unfortunate people that I do have a very definitive line between them, and I have slightly different methods for, when I'm playing the game as opposed to when I'm building it. Have to be in different mindsets,
definitely.
Otherwise I just go off on a weird tangent, and I start in London and somehow end up in like New Rock, in Rock Hill or something like that in South Carolina, and it's like, how the hell did I end up here? Why am I here? Kind of thing.
Yeah, what happened?
What the fuck happened there? So there's actually a location. So your starting location. Let's have if I go find that particular one. I can't remember what page it's on, but I know it's somewhere. Region. There we go. Have you got a D100?
Let me just get it. D10 and a D thingy. Let's roll that then, shall we?
Let's roll that shit. You roll it and I'll tell you what it says.
29.
Deep Wilds. The Deep Wilds. That sounds interesting.
Do you know what? I briefly looked at the regions and I thought I quite like the sound of the Deep Wilds.
So look at that picture. Isn't that lovely? Page 115 for anyone having a look. Look at that beautiful forest picture there. That's like, it's black and white, but it's glorious.
So the features of the Deep Wilds, there's unbroken woodland, a thick canopy casts the forest floor in the shadow, there's lingering fog, constant rain, the woods are like full of elves that are ever watchful, ancient trees hung with moss, streams winding their way through the rough terrain, skittering and growls from out of the mist.
Oh,
this is quite dangerous. I feel this is quite dangerous.
This is perfect for my hunter, though. It's like, this is perfect. And I'm just having a quick look. The gnarled branches are cloaked in hanging moss. The air is almost perpetually misty and wet. I'm not being funny. This sounds like parts of Scotland.
It does. And I imagine if, they just like thick with matted, with fur cloaked, or in these like stuff that's always a bit damp and a bit sort of matted, because we're just always in this like wet sort of damp environment all the time.
Sog.
Yeah.
Epics. It's like you said, Gideon levels of sog.
Like very moist all round. But it's like you say, it's a very sort of Highland Scotland foresty type of feel to it, and I quite like that. So yes, Deep Wilds, we're in.
I can't really complain, because as Scottish descent myself, I have a touch of love, more than a touch of love, like a very overbearing love for Scotland and the wonders of it. So I will always, if something reminds me of Scotland, I'm right in there. So I'm happy with this. So let's have a quick look. So there is a starter quest available in this. So for the immediate vow, this could be something to go with, or this could be related to the background vow. So let's have a quick look at it.
Okay.
Quest starter. An Ironlander has sided with an enemy in the heart of the wilds and is leading attacks against Ironlander settlement. Who is this person? Who have they joined forces with? What will you do to stop these attacks?
Okay, so an Islander side of the enemies. Now, I would pair that with the elves that are ever watchful. So I'm going to say an Ironlander has sided with like these pockets of elves that are kind of in the forest, in the deep wilds alongside where we are. Maybe we're on the fringe. Maybe we're on the kind of edges of these deep wilds, kind of just, you know, we have to use deep wilds, but we're not kind of in the thick of it. So we're on the kind of the outskirts, maybe. And I'm wondering if maybe this Ironlander sort of maybe fell in love with an elf, let's just say, and he's sided with them.
So I'm just taking a quick look here. An elf counts as a firstborn. Firstborn lived here long before humans landed on the shores. The humans, in their arrogance, named this peninsula the Ironlands and called themselves Ironlanders, but the firstborn gave it names of their own in a time beyond the reach of memory. So basically, we're just obnoxious little children to them.
Well, yeah, precisely. So I think we need to come up with a settlement name then for where we are.
Oh, okay. I'm just taking a quick look at the elves as well. Elves, strange beings of the forest, seldom seen beyond the ancient woods of the deep wilds. So very much in with the deep wilds there. A few warned that the elves abide in their time, readying the attack which will drive us from these lands. Elven mystics combine the animals and beasts of the forest to aid the defense of the wilds. So dangerous, basically.
Yeah.
Dangerous. Okay. So let's make it easy on ourselves and our characters from the same place, because that makes sense.
That would make sense. Yeah, we're both from the deep wilds.
Both from the deep wilds, both from a settlement, and it would also sort of mesh well because we've got very different sort of backgrounds, but they would complement each other in terms of being in the settlement. So deep wilds. We need a settlement for us to come from.
So we could go to 178 for settlement names, or we could go to the next section, which is quick settlement name generator. But I'm quite looking at some of these names. I'm quite happy to give some of these a shot.
So, well, we'll go with, or we'll come up with something a bit interesting. So, what kind of name do we want to give it? Do we want to make it a feature of the landscape, or?
I quite like the man-made edifice type of names, like the High Cairn, the Red Hall, the Darkwell, those kind of place names.
Okay.
They're quite cool.
So, a man-made edifice. What is it? Why is it important to this settlement's history? So, do you want to roll again? Because you've got the dice.
I shall roll again.
You can be the dice man tonight.
So that's 90.
90.
Cinderhome.
Cinderhome. That's interesting. Cinderhome. That to me suggests ashes and burning.
See, now this makes me wonder if we've burnt our ancestors or people who've settled here, burnt part of the forest and the deep wilds to clear for a settlement. They cut it down, they burnt it, they've used it for the palisades, they've used it as building the timber for their houses and huts and things. And Cinderhome is we burnt the forest for a bit.
That does say, Cinderhome does say to me, we burnt shit. And that would be like, we pissed the elves off.
Yeah, I think that's why maybe we've encroached. They've had to go back into their sort of deeper into the deep wilds. We've come along, we've done a bit of land clearing. We've kind of maybe set up some fields for like crops and livestock and stuff. And maybe we've built quite a lot of this ground. We've cleared like a bit of a valley maybe for ourselves on the outskirts of the deep world.
Really. Let's be
fair. To be honest, I mean, it's kind of like a human thing to do, isn't it? Like, come along and just, this land's ours now, and we're going to just push you out a bit and burn the forest that you probably hold quite sacred and dear to you. Yeah. And then just go like, we've got cows and stuff here now, so thanks.
Moo.
Good luck.
Moo,
precisely.
Moo.
Yeah. So we'll make a note of that then. Cinderhome. I'll just make a quick note of that.
I'll write that down. I'll let you write that down because apparently I don't have a space to put that on my sheet. That's one thing I will say about the sheet.
Cinderhome.
That if you look at the play kit doesn't actually give you anywhere to write anything down per se. So you have to have a notebook to hand. Now,
Yes.
not normally a problem for me. I have notebooks coming out of the wazoo, but in this instance, I actually don't have the room on my desk at the moment to
Which is fine.
accommodate that. So I'll let you write that down.
Yep, that's fine. I've just popped Cinderhome as our location, as our settlement location.
Okay, so
I
we
quite
have
like that.
Cinderhome.
That's quite interesting.
So, do we want to go with the starting quest that it's offered, or do we want
I think it'll
shall
be a
we-
good one to start with and just kind of experiment with, and we can get a feel for it, and probably go from there. So we shall say, where has it gone? I've lost regions now.
So it's on
That's not in
115.
Oracles. There we go. Nylander sided with the enemy at the heart of the wilds. So I'm thinking, like I said before, maybe there was like someone who's sided with the elves a little bit.
Or
Has
maybe
been
not,
kind of
not necessarily directly, but they've certainly
sort of
taken-
sympathised, maybe.
Yeah, maybe they're not directly, or maybe that's part of it. Maybe we don't know who specifically.
That's for us to discover.
It could be sympathisers of the elven cause, you know. But they may not necessarily be directly in contact with the elves, because from what I can tell, it's difficult to get in touch with elves.
It could be a spirit of the forest, or maybe they've been enchanted by, or something like that. Maybe they've been drawn in.
So let's say that that's the immediate quest. You know, because as we were discussing that, I had an idea for a long-term quest that my character might be interested in.
Okay.
So if we say this is the quest starter, so this is like you need to go out and do something about that right now. So
yeah,
find the traitor and stop the attacks, basically, for that.
Yeah, pretty much. I think that's So would we put that under sort of a dangerous vow?
I would say so, because it is
So
quite.
find the traitor. So that I'm going to add that as my. I can add more to that as and when. But yes, I shall put find the traitor as my dangerous vow. Find the tater.
Find the taters.
Boil and mash them, stick them in a stew.
Yeah.
So that is find the traitor. Yeah, I'm thinking, because I'm my guy's a farrier and your person's a hunter, I would say maybe there was like some scouts that went out from our settlement that never came back, and all we found were the horses that were like spooked and a bit wounded or whatever, what have you, and we were like, what the hell's happened here? How's this work? What's gone on? Sort of thing.
See, oddly enough, that's sort of along the lines of where my personal long-term vow would be going, because the idea I had.
Cool.
So the idea I was thinking was, obviously hunters usually work in small groups, especially the kind of hunter that my person would be, which is sort of like the big shit. You know, you're going after the big deal, the big game, the things that most people are too scared to go after, because, you know, a bit of a thrill seeker, you know, must bring back the biggest catch. But what if my thought was, what if one day I didn't go for some reason? I wasn't well. I didn't go.
Do you know what? Maybe you were injured. Maybe you'd hurt yourself. You were hurt.
I was ill or injured or something. And so the group went out, but only one of them came back.
Okay.
And
I like that.
They said that something came from the darkness or something. And I want to find out what happened to them. I want to basically hunt the creature that killed my hunting group.
Okay, so I'm just rolling some dice here so let's just say the scouts are made up of like 3, maybe 4 people. Okay?
Yeah.
So the people that have gone missing are, one of them's called Aiden, because I rolled a 23.
Okay.
Another one's called Malia, because I rolled a 32. What's 67? 67 is Gwen, so that's 3. And then before 59, we've got Chendar. So they're the 4 people that went missing. Aiden, Malia, Gwen, and Chendar. Maybe they're part of the scout party. Maybe you knew these people. Maybe we're like of a group of friends, and those 4 people never return.
So if that's going to be my long-term thing. Well, it says I've put in find and hunt, but it should really be hunt and kill the creature. So I'm going to hunt and hunt. I'm murderous huntress. So hunt and kill the creature that killed my hunting crew. So for me, that sounds like that's definitely an extreme or epic, because at the moment we don't know what it is. So we A, have to find out what it is, B, find out where it is, C, figure out how best to deal with it. So would you say that's extreme or epic?
I would say that's epic. I think that would come under epic because there's a lot of ground to cover with that. And I think it's going to lead off to other things that we might discover along the way.
There's a lot that needs
I think so. Yeah. I think it's either going to come under extreme or epic, but I would probably say on the epic side, because that could be like, you could be out in the wilderness for God knows how long trying to find what this is and dealing with it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's me and my 2 starting vows: find the traitor, stop the attacks, and then hunt and kill the creature that killed my hunting crew. So we're going to go for the same immediate one. So find the traitor, stop the attacks.
Yes.
So what
now,
about
for
your
me,
background
my background vow, that's going to be my epic or extreme, isn't it?
Your epic or extreme one, yeah.
Now, this is I'm not sure. What would you reckon? Because my guy's just like a blacksmith kind of guy. He's a farrier, so he shoes the scouts' horses. He looks after. He makes sure they've got like they're shoed and stuff like that, and the scouts are like got all their stuff and all that gear. So
did something happen that made you sort of turn to adventure to being Ironsworn? Because obviously, farrier, you stay in the village, you shoe the horses, you do ironwork. Did something happen? Maybe someone's gone. Well, obviously, we know that some people have gone missing. There's a traitor out there, so it's attacks. Did the traitor do something, or maybe something else happen? Maybe you want to find a material.
Well, yes, I think maybe that's a good thing. I'm looking for a specific type of ore or mineral, or something I can work with that would make a very good, like, legendary weapon, an axe, a sword, something like that. Maybe that's kind of like, my family has always been Ironsworn, and they've always been in this kind of blacksmithing game, and they have yet to put their name on something like legendary. So it's fallen to me now to be like, right, your sort of ancestral kind of hand-me-down is our family has never made like a legendary named weapon.
So
like I want to make a sword called Bright Flame, for example, but we've never had that opportunity. So something like that. So creating a legendary weapon would actually be...
That would work, because in your assets you can get things like legendary weapons and stuff like that.
I'll say epic, because I will say in my background, and I shall just quickly roll this again. This is quite cool. I like these tables. My family has always been plagued by this creature called the Aleko, which I've picked from the Varu names list. The Aleko that has kind of like it slayed my like 3 times great grandfather or something like that, and we've always wanted to try and get back at it, or this legendary creature, but we've never had the weapon to do it. So it's always been my family's aim to sort of forge this legendary weapon to kill this beast that's like killed one of my ancestors centuries ago and is somewhere out there, or if not a version of it is out there somewhere.
It's out there somewhere. You must get it.
I mean, this all could be myth and just hand me down. He could have just fell from a horse at one point, and the horse was spooked by this creature in the forest, and he just hit a molehill and fell off his horse, and that could be it. It's just like an embellished story that's handed down over years, and that's it. And everyone's just like, "Oh wow!"
So now you're on this quest to create this weapon to defeat this creature that you don't even know if it exists.
Yeah, it's just what I've been told by the fireside by my grandfather, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, and all that sort of stuff. Like it's something that's told by the fireside every kind of... Fireside. I don't know why I've
Fireside.
turned into like this country bumpkin. This fireside every kind of like winter solstice time sort of thing. It's like got to be careful of the Wendigo, or that sort of thing.
Yeah, that kind of creepy, the creepy tale that just keeps getting.
Yeah. So I'm going to add
It's
that
like
as my epic.
my granddad, who wouldn't let us in his basement because he said the three-legged horse was down there and would eat us.
Yeah,
Because that's the kind of weird man my granddad was.
nonsense.
Why would a three-legged horse that eats children be in his basement? Who fucking knows?
Because I captured it.
That's in reality, it was because he had a boatload of carpentry tools down there, and he didn't want a bunch of kids in there screwing around with fucking like rotating saws and shit.
Yeah.
So I get that. I get it. My granddad was a tool repairer. That was a real job, apparently. Still is. I'm guessing tool repairman. I don't know if there's a technical term for that, but that's what he was. So that probably was his weird thing to keep us out of his basement. Don't go down there. The three-legged horse will eat you.
And it might be one of those situations where maybe that's why I've left. I'm still in the lifestyle I'm in because my parents are always being like, no, maybe you should just learn the trade. We've done the whole, out there raiding thing, and it's kind of not ended well for us. And we have this this creature that's kind of been bad luck for us, always hanging over our heads. So maybe you just stay and, shoot the horses and make sure the weapons the spears have got spear heads, the arrows have got arrow heads, the axe, you're making some axe heads, you're making some swords. You're kind of doing that sort of thing, looking after the horses and things.
It's kind of hard to fail when you're not going out doing stupid shit.
Exactly.
Really.
And maybe that one day I've just gone, right, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna, go and seek this out because I'm fed up of just being told stay by the anvil, stay by the hearth, and it'll all be fine eventually. This will all blow over.
It'll be fine. It'll be alright.
Yeah.
So your vow is that you want to make a great weapon to slay a creature.
Yeah. Create a legendary weapon to slay the deadly Aleko that has haunted my family for generations. Yes. So I'm just going to make a name of the people, the names, we picked, or I picked, in fact, for the scouting party, so we don't forget. Aiden, Malaya, Gwen, and Chenda. Roll a d4 for me. I just want to, whoever you roll, 1 to 4 will be the person that's led this scouting party.
All right, let's have a look. Hang on then. I've got to get me doobie out. There we go. Oh, so that really loud clacky noise on my plastic desk.
Nice.
It's a 4.
So that would be Chenda. Chenda, whoever they may be, he or she, was the person that led this scouting party that has since vanished from the settlement.
Is this the same party that I would normally have been part of?
Yes, I'm going to say you would usually have been in this, but Gwen took your place.
And who returned? Because someone had to return to say something's happened.
Good question. Let's figure that out. You roll another D.
1.
So Aiden returned.
Aiden returned.
Yeah. Aeddon. That's how you spell it. I'm pronouncing it Aiden. I don't know if that's how you...
Aeddon.
Don't know if that's how you pronounce it.
That depends. Are you talking Welsh or are we talking Gaelic? Because in Welsh it would be something like Ethan
right.
Because double D in Welsh is a th.
So okay, we can call him Ethan. I mean, I don't mind. I'll be
Ethan.
Ethan, whichever. Yeah.
So I'll just put his name down there because
So
I'm just going to have scribble all over this sheet. See, he returned.
They returned. Yeah, they returned.
No one else
badly injured, badly wounded, possibly mortally.
Sad times.
Not sure. We're not sure. I mean, do you want that to be? Are they close friends of yours, or are they just acquaintances? How would you?
I think maybe what he would have been. Okay, so
he would have gone out with them quite a bit.
This kind of leads into the bonds thing because bonds is another part of the narrative. And it is something that you need to consider when you build your character. So if we just jump away from the world building and back to the
Sure.
character sheet, this is going to happen a lot, folks. Sorry, this is just how it happens now. So bonds. As you build relationships and complete quests in the service of others, you create bonds by making the Forge a Bond move. Bonds provide narrative texture to your world by fleshing out other characters and communities. They give you places to return to and people to reconnect with when your life as an Ironsworn has taken its toll. Bonds also provide mechanical benefits when you act within a community or interact with someone with whom you share a bond. For example, the Sojourn move gives you a bonus to your action roll if you have a bond with that community. Bond's progress track on your character sheet represents the connections you have made. When you successfully forge a bond, you mark progress. When your time as Ironsworn is done, you write your epilogue. When you make that move, you tally the number of filled boxes on your bond's progress track as your progress score. So I'm just going to take it. Where's that? I don't know where that is on here. Bonds. Oh, there it is. Yeah, right at the top. Duh. So right underneath. My God, I'm blind. I need new glasses. So
yes, I see. It's an experience. Yeah.
Right underneath your stats, you have your bonds boxes, and there's 3, 6. There's 10 boxes, and that's basically a progress track, and it tells you how far along that progress that you are. Oh my God, there's so much to go through here. There's quite a lot. If you scroll through the play kit, scrolling because I cannot flip the pages. There we go. So you have a progress track worksheet right at the end, which can help you track progress of your vows and things. But these bonds are kind of like a similar thing. You use them to sort of give yourselves bonuses, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels, doesn't it?
Write your epilogue first. But to learn more about your first session and your starting bonds, see page 139. I'm not 100% certain what these bonds actually are for, because you also have an experience track. You have an experience tracker, which you get from completing your vows.
Yeah.
Hang on, progress tracks. Okay, a progress. Right, I'm just going to jump back to on page 14. Back to the basics, unfortunately, here, guys, because I'm confused. It happens a lot. A progress track is used to measure your pace and determine the outcome of a goal or challenge in specific situations. So when you swear an iron vow, a progress track represents the challenges you overcome on your way to achieving your ultimate goal.
Okay.
When you undertake a journey, a progress track represents how far you've gone and how favourable the travel has been. When you enter the fray, a progress track represents your advantage as you weaken or wound your foes in combat. When you establish a new relationship with a character in your world and forge a bond, you mark your bond on a progress track. Progress tracks are drawn as a row of 10 boxes which you fill in or mark as you make headway toward a goal. When you initiate a challenge, these boxes are empty. Since making progress on your quests may stretch over many sessions, your character sheet includes progress tracks for vows. Your character sheet also includes a progress track for your bonds. For journeys and fights, you can sketch out your progress tracks on whatever is convenient, or use the challenge worksheets provided at ironswornrpg.com. So I'm guessing then these progress tracks, it's literally just how many bonds you have.
I mean, it kind of feels like you're having, it's like a bit in other games like Blaze in the Dark, you'll have a clock for like your progress on certain things, and that. So it feels like there's a progress tracker for virtually, doing it. You're traveling. There's a progress tracker how well you're doing. There's one for like combat, how well your combat's going by the sound of it. Something we'll probably have to investigate a little bit more. But yeah, I mean, I think, it feels like that's more of like a way to sort of figure out how that's working towards your ultimate vow, goal, and things like that by the end of it.
Yeah. I'm just taking a look at the Forge a Bond move here to see what. Score a hit, mark a tick on your progress, and make a note of the bond. Bonds and fiction. In the fiction, bonds can be ceremonial. If you bond with a person, perhaps you trade gifts. When you form a bond with a community, they may honour you in their own way. Also, respect the narrative weight of a bond. Don't declare a bond with everyone in sight to add more ticks to your bond track. The bonds
He's my friend. They're
represent
my friend.
everyone's my fucking friend.
So
So,
if you
you're my
think of
friend,
that in
you're my friend, and
Yeah.
you're my friend.
if you think about that in Ironsworn parlance, then you'd have probably 16 progress trackers for bonds.
I would have
loads of them.
I just want to be everyone's friend, and
Yeah.
I'm going to try and forge bonds with everyone I see, because I see them all as meaningful and they're all important to me and I love them all equally. And yeah, I'm not going to do that.
So
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it does a bit. Who would you consider any of these people like bonded to you at all, or are they just kind of
So
friends?
who is the leader?
Chandar.
Chandar. So I reckon that I would have had a bond with Chandar. I would have had a great deal of respect for them.
So they're gonna kind of be the elder person of this group, sort of maybe more experienced tracker hunter type.
Now, thinking about it though, if they're already dead, does bonds count if they're dead? Because I don't think they do. I don't think they would count, but it would be a driving force, I think.
Okay, well, how to solve this then?
Well,
wait a minute.
I think then as well, how are we pronouncing this? Ethan?
We'll say Aiden. Otherwise I'll keep getting there.
We'll go with Aiden. I would say I probably have a bond with him. Like I'm going to say it's a him because traditionally it's a male name.
Yeah, we'll say him.
So I think I have a bond with Aiden. I think that he would be like someone that I trust to have my back while I'm out hunting. He's like my scout normally. Like he's get like separated out into pairs and he's my scout. Like he'll watch my back while I'm...
Yeah. You'll go off and it'll be like Chandar and Malaya, and then it'll be you and Aiden, but you couldn't go this time round. Yeah, they sent the slightly inexperienced... We'll say the slightly inexperienced Gwen, who, has probably always wanted to go on one of these, but never got the opportunity. You happen to have, I don't know, hurt yourself, fallen off a horse, whatever, injured yourself in some way. Yeah, maybe that something happened in the woods and your horse bucked you off or bolted or something and you went off and injured yourself.
Oh, I fractured my coccyx. That hurts.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
You can't ride a horse with fractured coccyx.
There you go. So that's what happened then. Maybe something spooked the horse. It reared up, you fell off, cracked your coccyx, fractured it. Poor old Gwen, who was like really excited to finally go out and do a bit of scouting that she's always wanted to do, but she's kind of been like the sort of younger part of the party, finally goes out and dies on her first expedition.
Damn it. Damn.
So, yeah. So you're bonded with Aiden for sure.
With Aiden, that's good, then. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna give 1 mark for him. He's gonna have a mark because... Oh fuck it! I'm just gonna squiggle in the box. Squiggle in this box. There we go. I'm marking the box. I was trying to draw a tick and it just wouldn't draw, so I just squiggled in the fucking box.
That's fine.
Well, what about you? Your first. Let's try your first bond because this can then work into the world building as well.
Sure. How are we coming up with this then?
So, as a blacksmith, did you have a bond with a particular trader or merchant in the settlement? Someone who maybe brought you your bits and pieces?
Let's roll. Let's find out who this person is. I'm going to go for the Ironlander's name again.
Keep rolling, 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 rolling.
Let's go for Edda, number 50.
Number 50.
Or Ether. Yeah. EDDA.
EDDA. Yeah, again in Welsh that would be something like Aether. In Gaelic it would be Edda. But
okay, let's
go with Edda because it's Edda. Easier. We'll pronounce them as written by anglicized English, like shit at anything that isn't English.
Yeah, basically, we can't pronounce anything other, ladies and gentlemen, because it just makes no sense to us, and we'll probably forget.
Hey, I'm okay. I've been learning that I've been learning this stuff, but that's for my game
Yeah,
because I like to confuse all of my players by saying weird shit at them.
yeah.
Then they get confused.
So Ada's the merchant.
So Ed is your merchant. What do they merchant? What do they merchant?
What do the merchant?
Fuck, I can't even English tonight. What do they do? What do they sell? What do they provide for you?
I think they're going to provide for me probably stuff for the forge, maybe some like coal.
So
They
they're a
provide coal, I
miner.
suppose.
They could be a
A
miner.
miner, yeah, miner. We'll say they're miner. And yeah, they kind of have like provide like the arrow sort of fletchings and things like that as well. So they could well be some sort of trapper as well. They're out there. Maybe they're getting the fletchings from sort of animals and things like out there somewhere.
Or maybe it's like a family thing, and they're the leader of this family.
Yeah, they're like it's like Edda's little kind of group, and he's kind of, I don't know, is it a male or female name? I'm not sure.
It's one of those ones that could go either way. Honestly,
Okay, we'll call her a. Let's have a quick look. Say it's a she. She's like the matriarch, we'll say, of this little group
badass
of
matriarch of this.
Yeah, of this kind of like mining stroke trapping family that kind of makes its way into the Cinder home every now and again to sort of trade, and the blacksmithy farrier sort of place always kind of trades with her for the stuff for the forge and for making repairing weapons and things like that, sort of supplies that way, I think.
All right, so Edda is your first bond,
and you put a mark on under that, do you? +1.
You basically put like a cross or some kind of mark in. I just squiggled in the box because I couldn't get it to tick properly, so I've just got a splodge in my box. But so you start with, I think you start with 3 bonds.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's make some more up then. I'm enjoying this. This is great.
So people or communities. So we've gone up for an hour. So I tell you what, we'll finish these, and then we'll have to call it because it's gone in deep. We're going to have to do another session just to finish this up.
I think to be honest, people, you're gonna hear a lot more Ironspawn before we're done.
I think you are.
Because this is quite fun. I'm quite enjoying creating this world building. It's quite fun.
Making shit up as we go along.
So we'll go back to your bond then. Who are we talking about now?
So as a hunter, I kind of feel like
there has to be someone in charge, like a man type, chieftain type. Maybe not chieftain, but maybe sort of in charge of like an elder of the clan, who's kind of in charge of the hunting and the gathering and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I feel like there should
sort of thing.
I feel like there should be the hunter tracker leader, like who coordinates the different groups. So if we're all in groups of 4 and pairs and that, they're the one that coordinates all of these things. So if Eden's like, he's my scout, he's my backup guy, my dude, my man.
Yeah, you report to somebody. Report to somebody.
Yeah. So who
Let's
do
roll,
I
shall we?
report to? Roll for me. Becca.
BECA.
BECA.
Now, is that? I'm assuming that could. I'm not going to, as in Rebecca, in that form. It could be a male name for all I know.
Traditionally female, but you know what? I'm kind of, my character is non-binary, and Aiden is male. So let's make Becca. I'm actually going to spell it with 2 C's because I've just written it down with 2 C's.
Fair.
So Becca's like the hunt master.
Okay. And is she like a grizzled veteran, or is she kind of?
Yeah, she's like really cool. She's tall, and she's starting to go grey, and she's strong. She's got like really strong shoulders.
Like archer's, archer's shoulders.
She's got the archer's shoulders, and she can shoot like the most arrows from.
Yeah.
like
She's doing the
Oh,
Robin
anyway.
Hood thing, the arrow through an arrow. Yeah, that kind of jazz.
She's that kind of feel like I want her to be my aunt.
Okay. Family
Not
tie, that's perfectly
family
fine.
tie. I think she should
Yeah.
be like my aunt. Because
Okay.
I just like the idea of she's like the big badass of the family. Maybe my parents weren't like badass, but Aunt Becca was amazing, and I just wanted to be like
Yes.
Aunt Becca.
Yeah, maybe she's like your family were kind of raiders in the normal sense, but she was like exceptional and really kind of respected and kind of this kind of legendary type figure. I imagine she's got this. I kind of look at her as having this like normal sort of like hair color, but this like shock of a little bit of white in there, as
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
to show kind of she's a bit more distinguished.
I think she's got like that streak down the front, just like,
Yes.
and then when it's pulled back, it looks like a fucking badger stripe. And then
There you go. Yeah.
she's got long hair, so when she ties it back, you can see it we're like woven through the braid, and it looks really cool.
Nice.
I want
Looks
my
really
own.
badass.
I want my own badger stripe one day.
Yeah, and then maybe she's got like a few battle scars and things, maybe just like nicks and stuff. Like maybe, you know, there's like a scar in the eyebrow that something happened there. I don't know. Flesh this out. But she's, Aunt Becca is the leader of the scouting party, and you kind of report to her. I would say because you're a relative, she's maybe a bit more harder on you than everybody else.
Oh, she's like the hardest bitch ever. Like,
Yeah,
she's
because
a slave
she's like,
driver.
well, you now have to prove yourself not only to me but to the rest of the family as well that you're worthy of being here, because otherwise it just looks like favoritism, and I don't like that kind of attitude of you're not just getting in because you're my niece, you're getting in because you've earned it, so you have to then keep up this pretense, keep up this like
a nephew niece thing, like non-binary. What's the non-binary equivalent of a nephew? I don't know, actually.
Oh god, there is an actual thing, but I can't remember what it's called. Hang on.
This is the random stuff that pops into my head from time to time, folks. Questions that must be answered. What is the non-binary equivalent?
Okay,
niece,
nibbling.
nephew, nibbling.
A gender-neutral term for a child of one sibling is nibbling. It can be used in place of terms of niece and nephew.
So
there you go. Educational here on Two Kobolds.
Yeah, nibbling. Yeah. That's a really.
You are nibbling.
I'm nibbling.
You are nibbling.
Sounds like
we are nibbling.
Yeah, it sounds like a curse or something, doesn't it? That's
I
know where it's come from. I know where it's come from. It's come from neutral sibling.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it sounds, when you say it in that nibbling, it sounds like, honestly, the first thing I thought of was Niffler from Futurama.
It's the
Nibbler, sorry, not Niffler. That's something else entirely. The Niffler is something else entirely.
Okay, so so we'll say that's your relationship to Becca. Yeah. And we might as well just do the third one for you, and then we'll do my two. So the third one, what is your third one?
I think my third one should be someone that comes from outside, like maybe someone that travels around, brings
sort of more
news.
Of like I was going to say, go on.
Like a traveling sage type person who brings news from the outside world and just delivers it. And, you know, their entire purpose is to keep the settlements informed of what's going on. Yeah,
I was just about to say something similar, like just a wild person that just roams and is like, have you know, there's wolves in the woods to the north. This tribe, this clan's on the move east, so you might want to be careful over that way. Just someone who's like in the area who's always quite happy to trade for information.
Yeah, so we'll go with an info trader.
Let's have a look then. What is the number? 66 is Nadria or Nadria.
How's that spelled?
Or Nadira. Nadira?
How's that spelled?
That's how you pronounce it. Nadira.
Nadira. Yeah, that's
so that's Nadira. 66 Nadira. So Nadira is your, again, sounds like another, is that a female, I would assume? So we've got some badass women so far in this world. I like this. This is good.
Yeah, seriously, badass ladies going on here.
Yeah, who are basically out there doing shit.
Yeah, Nadira is actually a proper name. Let me see if I can find the meaning of it, because that's one I don't know the meaning. Nadira name meaning is...
Oh, apparently it's an Arabic girl's name, which means rare, extraordinary, or precious.
Yeah. The male form is Nadir.
Oh, there you are. Cool. So she's going to be this sort of travelling info person that's like lives like in the bush, lives rough, comes into the settlements, gives a bit of information, trades for food, trades for some supplies. He's quite happy to sit by the fire and tell a few stories and kind of be a bit more sage, bit sage advice here and there, I would say. Yeah, that sounds about fair.
I've just got her down as info trader and sage. So yeah,
Cool.
those because obviously she's going to be really good, like for details about big hunts and stuff like that.
Oh, she's going to be like, there's something in the woods, like northeast. You might want to get on that.
Yeah.
Track that.
All right. So
there's your 3 bonds then.
Those are my 3 bonds. So I've got Becca, Nadira.
Cool. Lovely.
So what about?
So for my 2, so I've got Edda, who's the minor sort of trapper person who, provides stuff for the forge. Do you know what? I'm going to go with the person that runs the forge, who's probably going to be my old man.
Your dad. Daddy-O's running the thing. So what's Daddy-O's name then?
He is... What did I roll there? Let's have a look. Fania? F-A...
Fania.
Fania? There we go. Yeah. Fania. Yeah. What does that mean?
That's another one of those. It sounds like it's...
Is it supposed to mean something else?
I don't know. We can have
Doesn't
a
matter.
check.
Let's have a quick check. Oh, well, it's a translation of Fafnir, so...
Oh,
which was a Norse dragon.
Really?
Yeah, we'll call him Fafnir instead. I like that more.
It's a good name. Fafnir is a grand old name. For those of you interested, Fafnir, a worm or dragon slain by a member of the Volsung family, typically Sigurd.
Is that Sigurd of the ring thing? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sigurd and Brunhild.
Yes.
So he is
Fafnir
my father.
Has been translated from Old Norse as the Embracer.
Okay. Lovely.
So
maybe he was like, if that's the case, then maybe he was like some sort of champion in grappling or something. Like the settlement has these kind of games and stuff in sort of summertime or whatever, and he's never been beaten in like the sort of wrestling grappling matches. Hence his name. He's
the Embracer. He is the
he's
cuddle
an Embracer.
Man.
So he basically just he's never been taken off his feet, and he's always this like big bear of a man who just like works the forge. He's done with his raiding. He's kind of got an eye patch. He's an older man now, but he's still quite handy in a bit of a wrestling match if you ever want to take him on. So that's him. Who else do I want?
Right.
Let's have a think.
You've got someone in the village. You've got a family member. Yep. Is there someone outside of the village that you're particularly, someone who comes in? Or do you have connections with a nearby settlement?
Well, let's have a roll. Let's see what comes up. Saskia. So I'm going to say she is from a nearby settlement, which we'll name current in a minute. And she is kind of like my betrothed.
You've got a love lady.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is this a mutual thing or is it arranged?
I think it was originally arranged, but Dag has since fallen kind of like head over heels for this girl who is he's like besotted with her. Because he's like the big dumb stable boy, and she's just like this lovely, nice sort of girl from the next settlement over. And she's just like his dad, because I suppose in these sorts of times, if you were a trade, you were like, well, that's kind of respectable.
Yeah.
Being kind of attached to a kind of blacksmith's son who's probably going to take over the forge and things like that. It's like, well, okay, this is quite, dowry's been paid and all that sort of stuff. So it's kind of like, okay, well, he's just like absolutely, but she's a lot kind of, I would say, cleverer and smarter than he is. And she's just like, he's just the big strong guy who just dotes on me. The big dumb bear that just dotes on her. And she's just, she's just like, I'll take it. It's fine. He's lovely. He's nice to me. Treats me well. That's more I can hope for. Let's have a look. Let's go back to settlement. Where is she from? Settlement names. Settlement names. So in the deep wilds, are most of our settlements going to be sort of for man-made edifices, feature of the landscape? Let's go for a landscape one. Maybe the next day. That's going to be 43. So Grimtree. Oh, that sounds a bit ominous. So
Maybe-
she's from Grimtree. Almost
So
like Grimsby.
maybe It is. It's always grim in Grimsby, you know. Maybe
Yeah.
their settlement is built around one large, really old
Dead
ancient
tree.
that
Yeah.
it's dead now, but it used to be a massive sprawling monstrosity. In the
Yeah.
when they started building the settlement, it couldn't
Just
be
killed
cut
it off.
down.
Yeah.
But it couldn't be
And
cut
maybe
down.
with
It
the-
refuses to be cut down.
No, yeah, and maybe that's what it is. It's maybe where the people that are people from these settlements that surround Cinderhome and Grimtree, where they've been clearing the land. This tree, you can't cut. It just looks dead. It's like that sort of white bark type dead looking tree, but it cannot be felled. However, no axe can cut it. It's like this legendary thing. Like this, no axe can fell this tree. So what they've done is they've just gone, fine, we'll just build a settlement and make it kind of the settlement's personality instead.
Yeah.
She's from Saskia from Down Tut Road in Grimtree.
Down to Road in Grimtree.
Yeah.
Saskia from Grimtree.
Yeah.
Bless her.
Yeah. So she's the one.
She is your one.
Yeah.
Bless. Okay.
Quite sweet. Yeah.
All right. So
It's a lovely bit of world building there.
Yeah, we built some world. We did some bonds. We did some vows. It's been an hour and a quarter.
I know.
It's really deep. Ironsworn goes
It is
in
deep.
really
It does.
deep.
It is. I do like it. I'm enjoying this. It gives me a lot more stuff to think about than the background of this character and what blah blah blah. It's like I'm actually building characters and the world along with it, which is quite cool. So we will make an Ironsworn Part 3 because we're having fun doing it. It's going to have to, and there's a lot
that we haven't done yet.
So to tee the listeners up, what is the next ground to cover before we wrap this episode up? Because we've done our bonds now. We've got our 3 bonds.
So
we've got our vows.
I've gone too far. I went too far. Gone too deep. Oh no. So after we've done vows and bonds, it does talk about abilities and conditions and things. But the next thing is to look at assets.
Okay.
So next time we're going to be skipping through things like banes and burdens and conditions because you don't really have them at the beginning.
Okay.
So you don't, when you create your character, all abilities are unmarked. So you don't start with any of those. You do it 0.
I will skip over that then. That's fine.
But what you do take are assets. So next time we'll take a look at the assets, the types of assets, and what benefits and bonuses they could bring. And we're going to give some of those bits and pieces to Dag and to Caldus here.
There we go. Yeah. So, yeah, we'll end the episode there because, otherwise we could keep going for another couple of hours on this because this is actually turning out to be really fun. I'm looking forward to actually seeing what these characters can do later on when we decide to unleash them onto our listening audience.
Unleash.
Unleash
the Dag.
Unleash the
Release the Dag.
like the tags. But yes, no, thank you for listening. This has been a fun episode where we've deep dived into Ironsworn. We'll be back next week with some more. Part 3 of Ironsworn as we talk more.
Yeah.
There might be a part 4, part 5. We'll see how we go. We've sped through it quite quickly. We've covered some good ground, I feel. We've got quite established characters by the feel of it, with backstories and connections and everything. Yeah, we've got it seems a bit more meaningful. But yeah, come check us out on all the socials, the Twitters, the Zitters, the Mastodons.
Yes, indeed. Just type into your search bar 2 Kobolds in a Trench Coat podcast, or by the abbreviation 2 Kiat podcast. That's 2 KIAT podcast. Please include the podcast. You don't want kobolds in cars. Nobody needs that.
Unless you do. Unless you do, and then we'll find
in
a
which case, why not give them semi-automatic rifles as well? Kobolds in cars with semi-automatic rifles. There you go. That's a whole mess unto itself.
If you've ever heard of that one-page TTRPG, is it called Crash Pandas?
Yes.
Then you just reskin that as kobolds in cars.
Kobolds in cars, yeah. So Yeah, find us on the socials, Two Key App Podcast, Two Kobolds in a Trench Coat Podcast. Go visit our website, just Google Two Kobolds in a Trench Coat. We are still trying to get enough money together to buy ourselves a domain name. We'll get there at some point, I'm sure. If you want to donate to that cause, head on over to our Ko-fi, where you can put in like £3, I think is the small donation.
Yeah.
It's a ridiculously small amount these days. You can get a whole pot of tea for that, £3 pot of tea. So yeah, just pop some pennies in the Ko-fi, and that will just go towards making ourselves look more professional and maybe some more fun bits and pieces in future, because prototyping costs money, folks. Sorry, it's just the world.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes.
It's just the way it goes.
Big boo. But yeah, so hope you've enjoyed this episode, because we've enjoyed it, because we've been talking for over an hour and we seem to have raced through it, because time flies when you're having fun.
It does. So yeah, catch up with all the rest of the stuff. If you've missed Ironsworn Part 1, go. Don't be a silly Billy. Go and listen to that as well, and go and listen to Season 1, where we mostly chat shit. To be fair, that's all we ever do, but whatever.
That's all we do. That's all this podcast is. But yeah, enjoy it, embrace it, come and chat with us wherever you can find us, and we'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you later.